and welcome to this FPL Gameweek 14 team selection video with me, Holly Shand. I've got 2 free transfers. We're getting into a very busy stage of the season, so transfer plans, team selection and captaincy is so important. Like and subscribe. Let's get this one to 500 likes and I'll aim to answer all of your questions on this one. Let's get into it. Starting off with how my game week 13 went, I've ended up on 49 points and currently I'm on a green arrow. But of course, we've got Fulham against Wolves tonight, which could turn it into a red one because it is quite a slender advantage at the moment. 49 points, though, feels like a bit of a win. Obviously, quite a bit above the average, but it did look like a particularly difficult week, certainly for the defence and, you know, lots of sides matching up against each other. I was a bit worried when it looked like Flecken was going to keep a clean sheet for Brentford, but Saka wiped it out. He came away with an 8-pointer, which was the highest returner in my squad. Kind of got the captaincy right with Haaland on 7, 14 as captain over Son, who blanked, but he was incredibly unlucky not to deliver in that game. Of course, Salah and Watkins delivered as well. Diaby subbed off at half-time, as was Cash, on a yellow card for a 1-pointer. Certainly concerns there. I felt like I got away with it in terms of the double Newcastle defence, with Lascelles coming up with an attacking return. It was a rare blank from Mbomo, but his difficult fixtures are out of the way now, and he's being quite highly bought in a transfer market as things stand, which I think bodes well. Looking ahead to transfer plans, and we must bear in mind that it is a busy midweek, the penultimate round of European group stage fixtures before that all comes to a close. So we've got 8 sides in action in midweek, including Newcastle and Manchester City in the Champions League on Tuesday, Manchester United and Arsenal in the Champions League on Wednesday, and then on Thursday in the Europa League we've got Brighton, Liverpool and West Ham, and Aston Villa in the Europa Conference League. So I know I say this most weeks, but if you can hold on and make your transfers as late as Friday, that will probably pay off. Looking at my team right now, I've got 5 of my attackers and 3 of my defenders involved in midweek action, and you know, anything could happen in terms of injuries, so it's something that we really need to bear in mind before making our moves. In terms of my squad, I've currently got 2 free transfers, as I've mentioned already. Nothing in the bank. After Saturday's game, I was wondering kind of where I was going to go with my transfers, but I think having watched the Spurs v Villa game, I'm a lot firmer on where the weak links are in my squad now. Matty Cash has become a bit of a liability. He's 1 yellow card off a suspension now. He's blanked in 5 of the last 6 game weeks with just 1 fortunate clean sheet where he was subbed on a yellow card before Aston Villa eventually conceded. No attacking returns in that side as well. He's playing a less attacking role now, which is a concern as well. So he's a player that I'm looking to sell this week. Certainly looking at Aston Villa's fixtures. I know Bournemouth isn't too bad a fixture, but it is away from home next. But beyond that, we've got City at home and Arsenal at home, which is not a great pairing. I'm also looking to sell Moussa Diaby because I did not like that substitution on half-time. We're going into a very busy period with the fixtures. After this round of fixtures of Game Week 14, there's a midweek Tuesday deadline next week for Game Week 15, and then another weekend deadline for Game Week 16. I need players that are going to play 90 minutes and be involved on the pitch. So Diaby, his form's kind of dwindled. The fact that Tielemans came on and got an assist and impacted the game, I don't think that's going to help Diaby going forward. I don't trust his minutes. He's played 90 minutes just once in the last 8 game weeks, which isn't good enough for me. So both of those players are on the chopping block. I think Son will survive because he was unlucky not to deliver against Aston Villa. He's a player that does play 90 minutes. He's on penalties. He's a player I've got a lot of trust in compared to Cash and Diaby. In terms of transfers in, I want to get in an Arsenal defender. Gabriel is about 0.6 million cheaper than Saliba, but I just feel like you get what you pay for, particularly this time of year. So Saliba already gone up in price going into game week 14, 5.5 million, but I trust him to get minutes for Arsenal in this congested period, and they're a side that we can really rely upon for clean sheets. Saliba's played every single minute so far this season, 6 clean sheets in there as well, assist already this season, and the fixtures over the next 4 look quite promising. Wolves at home and Luton away up next, followed by Villa away and Brighton at home. I imagine that Arsenal will get through that little run of fixtures quite nicely, and there's enough challenging fixtures in there to make me think that Saliba's going to play most games because he's such an important player for Arsenal. The other position then is bringing in a new midfielder, and I'm going to go with the pack here, I think. Anthony Gordon continues to impress. His best performance of the season in game week 13, a 13-pointer, a goal and an assist against Chelsea. And he's now played 90 minutes in each of the last 4 game weeks. I know Harvey Barnes is coming back, but, you know, Newcastle are light on numbers across the pitch. The likes of Wilson and Isaac rarely stay fit for long, and Gordon can pretty much play any position among that front 3. He's fully fit, so I think for me, he seems like a great buy right now. He's a player I've got a lot of faith in, playing for a team that I've got a lot of faith in. The fixtures, admittedly, are a little bit of a mixed bag over the next few game weeks, but I don't think that's a bad thing because that forces these top teams to go full strength across all of their fixtures. So he's another player that looks to be coming in for me this week. At the moment, I've got 0.2 million in the bank for flexibility with these moves. Gordon again rose last night, so I could get priced out of these moves if I don't monitor the price changes carefully. Any drop for Cash or Diaby will see me lose value, so I'm going to be monitoring it closely. Hopefully I can get to Thursday evening before having to make these transfers. The alternative is that I buy Gabriel instead of Saliba. And interestingly, when I put my team into the AI transfer plans on Fantasy Football Hub, it did recommend I sold Livramento for Gabriel and bring in Gordon for Diaby, with the alternative not to make a defensive transfer and just bring in Gordon for Diaby. So I do have some flexibility there, but I will want to make these moves if I can. And if I do have to go early, then so be it. But let's see what the week brings, because a lot can change between now and then. If you want to get your AI transfers, you can do so by going on Fantasy Football Hub using the link in the description to this video. You can get a 30-day free trial right now, which will cover you for the next 6 game weeks for absolutely free before you have to pay for a subscription with 30% discount. So it's well worth checking out to get that advice for free over the most busy period of the season. Team selection time then, and I feel like the 11 is a lot easier to pick this week than it has been the last few weeks. Flecken is going nowhere between the sticks against Luton at home this week, the better fixture compared with Areola at home to Crystal Palace. I don't think it's wise to bench Flecken. Of course, he blanks in game week 18 now, so I will need to utilise him that game week. And then in the defence, we've got Saliba coming in for Wolves at home, probably the pick of the fixtures. Tsimikas is back on the pitch for Fulham at home, with the Cells making up the back line against Manchester United at home, with Livramento dropping to the bench for that fixture, and Burke potentially still unavailable as my third sub. He's going to be a player that I kind of need to come back into Luton's side fully fit over the festive period, because you never know when you're going to need to go deep onto your bench. Into the attack, and Mbeumo, the fixtures are improving for him with Luton at home. I'm excited to see what he can do. Gordon against Manchester United at home, another home game for Newcastle, which will really suit them. Son travels to Man City, kind of out of form. A really, really tough fixture as well. But, you know, he is a quality player, former Golden Boot winner. He can deliver in any fixture, so I'm happy to play him. Saka's got Wolves at home, which is a great fixture for him. He's in form at the moment. Salah, Fulham at home. I think he's delivered a goal in every home game so far this season, so certainly one that I've got high hopes for. And up front, we've got Watkins down to a single Aston Villa player away at Bournemouth, which I don't think is a bad thing considering their future fixture schedule, and Haaland at home, which suits him, to Spurs. When it comes to captaincy then, there's a few options on the table. I guess the key ones for me are going to be the premium players with the home games. So it's Haaland at home to Spurs, Salah at home to Fulham, and Saka at home to Wolves. Now, you could conceivably captain any of these players. I feel like Haaland at home to Spurs is probably not the easiest fixture right now. Romero is still suspended though, which will help him. So I think I do expect Haaland to score in that game. I just feel like Salah has the edge because of his consistency at home this season. He must be going into that game confident, which is certainly going to help him. I feel like those two have the edge over Saka, who's been limited more to assists in recent weeks. And with Odegaard back, he's not nailed to be on penalties. I can be influenced, though, on this captaincy decision by midweek minutes. Obviously, Haaland in the Champions League on Tuesday evening, Salah in the Europa League on Thursday evening. Any minutes there could impact my decision. So we'll wait and see. But provisionally, I think it's going to be Salah captain and Haaland vice-captain. I have put this team into the rating on Fantasy Football Hub. 95% team rating, 68.9 predicted points for this team. So hopefully a good game week ahead, whatever happens. Remember, you can get your team rating on Fantasy Football Hub with a 30-day free trial using the link in this description to this video. If you've enjoyed this one, make sure you like and subscribe. Let's get it to 500 likes, and I will try and respond to every single comment on this video regarding your dilemmas ahead of FPL Game Week 14. Thank you for watching.